Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Chicago Sports Talk. Michael, the voice of Chicago. Let's get into today's video of the Houston Texans versus the Chicago Bears preview slash prediction video. So, do the Bears look like they're going to rebound after embarrassing loss to a rival? Watch this video to find out. So, it is the return of Lovie Smith, who was the Chicago Bears head coach through the years of 2008 to 2013, which I believe that was the year the Chicago Bears fired him. But Lovie Smith, I guarantee you, Lovie Smith has a game plan facing his former team to try to make them regret firing him. What's up, RJ? So, the Houston Texans don't have a good record going into this game. However, they've been keeping it close with some of the opponents. The Colts don't look that pretty, but they tied with them, and they kept it close with the Denver Broncos. So this Houston team can show a lot of fight. But the problem was in the games that they couldn't finish it out on offense. And that's because I don't think Davis Mills is a good quarterback. His comparison is Mike Glennon. So I want to show something on PFF real quick. So they're the 28th overall. They have the 25th ranked offense and the 28th ranked defense. So not very good numbers. But if you look at the Bears real quick, the Bears are the 32 ranked overall team, the 31st ranked offense, and the 31st ranked defense. But keep in mind, folks, these are only 2 games in the season, so things could change. And they're giving spread to the Bears. So the Bears have a quite easy opponent. But the thing the Bears have to do to win this game is to have Justin Fields throw the ball more, is because he only threw the ball 28 times the past 2 games. So you're going to have to let Justin Fields throw the ball more. You also want to have the running backs more involved in this game. The last game, David Montgomery had over 100 yards in only 2 plays against the Texans. And that was in 2020. And I think you can really hurt the Texans by just letting Justin Fields throw the ball, because it doesn't seem like the Texans have much playmakers that can make a difference. So I can understand Green Bay and San Francisco, they have talented cornerbacks, but the Texans don't really have star players on their defense. And I want to bring up something that Jalen Johnson this season had over 63 coverage snaps, only 1 catch allowed for 9 yards, and a record of 42.4 passer rating around. So that shows you how much proven Jalen Johnson is. And I think Jalen Johnson has taken over the number 1 spot completely. He's more like a Richard Sherman. He's playing like Richard Sherman is. Like, nobody targeted Richard Sherman. Anybody barely even targeted Richard Sherman. It was very rare that Richard Sherman gave up a big play. So Jalen Johnson is giving the Richard Sherman vibes. What up, Alex? Hope you guys beat the. You think you guys will beat the Giants, Alex? If you're still in here. I think y'all beat the Texans. Yeah, the Texans don't look that very good. I know we don't either, but the Texans should be a very easy opponent. And we just need to get turnovers in this game because we only managed to get turnovers because of Green. Those were just lucky turnovers. One of them was that was on Aaron Rodgers, and that was just luck and a miscue by Rodgers and AJ Dillon. And I believe the other one was just because the Aaron Rodgers threw he tried to do a jet sweep to Christian Watson and he fumbled it, and I think it was recovered by the Packers, but I'm not sure. So you have to give takeaways when they're given, and you're not going up against Aaron Rodgers. You're going up against Davis Mills, who is Michael Lennon. I don't think the Texans scored a touchdown against the Broncos, but they did keep it close for the most part. It's just the offense itself is a bigger hole. So let's look at Davis Mills for a moment, folks. When we go to Davis Mills, his offensive grade currently is a 62.1. Passer grading is 61.1. And that's according to PFF. Now let's go over to Justin Fields. His offensive grade is a 39.0, and his passing grade is a 37.1. His status is an A, though. And now, granted, the team has not been letting Justin Fields throw the ball more. They definitely need to get Justin Fields the ball, throw the ball more. Because the Texans team, besides Brandon Cooks, doesn't have a lot of good playmakers on this team. So OJ Howard is decent, a decent tight end, I believe. So this looks like an easy opponent for the Bears. I'm just saying the Bears' schedule gets easy now because until we play the Packers again, they have a pretty easy schedule because you got the Texans, you got the Giants, you got the Vikings, who didn't look that good against the Eagles. But we're talking about the Texans. The Texans. The only thing I could say with the defense is let Davis Mills beat you by throwing the football, because the run defense is a huge problem on the Bears because they allowed Aaron Jones to have a career high, allegedly. So I have no doubt in my mind Lovie Smith is going to have the Texans run the ball a lot in this game. So they're going to have to make sure that they contain the run game the best they can and allow Davis Mills to only throw, because I believe our secondary is top 15, and it's going to be in the future. Like the last couple of weeks of the season, I have a feeling that we're going to see our secondary be top 15 because we have playmakers that can get it done. The Bears receiving core needs to get more involved, and that's on Luke Geesey to make sure that Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet get open, because Cole Kmet was only targeted one time during the Packers game, and it was a drop pass, which you do have to. I guess you can say the offensive line needs to block better for Justin Fields, but Cole Kmet should have caught that ball. and they should sub in Lucas Patricks into the center and sub Sam Mustipher on the bench. They should obviously. They need to have Lucas Patricks in the center, and they need to stop rotating him and Tevin Jenkins. I understand because Lucas Patricks didn't get enough preseason reps, but he should be in the center part. The Bears need to get the receivers involved because currently their leading receiver right now is Acrivius St. Brown, and that's not Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney only had one catch in the Packers game. That was -4 yards, I believe. So they're going to have to get Mooney and Kmet more involved, which should be their two huge playmakers. They need to get Pringle involved. They also need to get Velus Jones Jr. involved if he returns this week, which I think he's going to return and make his debut. The offensive line should do well against the Texans because the Texans don't really have that much of a good pass rush, and they don't really have a good secondary. Like I said, this is a very young Texans defense, which is full of not many proven players lately. So my score prediction for the Bears, I think this is going to be very close, and that's because the Bears don't have a lot of good playmakers. They should blow out the Texans because the Texans don't have a good offense. But this will be close because the Bears offense has not taken its next step. But hold on there for just a moment. It's only 2 games. It could change. So I think the Bears will win this game at a score of 20-14. And I think the offensive player of the game will be Cole Kmet, and the defensive player of the game will be Jalen Johnson, because Jalen Johnson has been very well known in the NFL. I believe he has the most lowest allowed catch in the NFL when it comes to CBs. So, sorry, I had to close my closet door. So, I will say that Kyler Gordon does need to improve. He did play horrible in the last game, but folks, he's a rookie. He's playing one of the toughest positions ever. So I'm going to cut Kyler Gordon some slack because it's his first year in a tough area that he's in. Kendall Vildor, I'm not sure why the hell is he still on the team when he hasn't done shit, but it is what it is. But I have no doubt that they're going to try to run the ball a lot this game, which the Texans really don't have any noticeable running backs. Now, I know Damian Pierce is a decent one, but he's not a all-pro. What up, YTC? So I think all said and done, the Bears should win this one 20-14. And if I'm going to be perfectly honest, the team they need to completely shut out the Texans, and that's only because the Texans don't have much talent to score points. Neither do the Bears. But overall, I think it's going to be close, and it's going to come down to the last play where the Texans screw it up in the end. What up, David McNew? And I think I'm going to leave the door open up to questions. Anyways, if this is your first time here, I want to say, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and leave a like. Bears have no excuse to lose to a team on the same level as them and a pencil neck. Basically, YTC, if we lose to the Texans, we don't Like, we're tanking this season. It's pretty much confirmed that the Bears are tanking the season. But even though I think the Bears can roll out 9 wins, maybe 8 wins, they they should not lose to a team like the Texans, who don't have the quarterback. Now, Davis Mills is decent, but he's not at any All Pro level, and he only won 2 games in his rookie season. And they don't have any notable players on defense that I'm too worried about. But I have no doubt in my mind that Lovey's going to run the ball a lot this game, and that's probably going to hurt the Bears. But I don't think I don't think it's going to be a factor because the Texans don't really have that much. So basically, I just want the Bears to win by making Davis Mills throw the football. That's all. That's all I ask, pretty much. So now I will say the Texans have been keeping it close with a lot of opponents, but the problem is with the Texans is they can't close out games. The Colts game, for example, that they should have won that game, but they let the Colts come back. The Broncos game, they were holding Russell Wilson in check, but the problem was they couldn't get it done on offense. Yeah, I expect the game to be low scoring to YTC. That's because the Bears don't have an offense that's able to put up 41 points like the Bills did against the the Titans. Yeah. I have it being more than that YTC. I have a feeling that the Bears will put up 20 points. Uh, 20 points, and then the Texans might score 14 or 13. OJ Howard is I think is their number one tight end or their number two. I'm not sure, but they're gonna have to. I think the only playmaker that I think the Bears should take notes on is Brandon Cooks, because Brandon Cooks is an 1,000 yards receiver no matter where he goes. But the problem with Cooks is he's always hurt and he's inconsistent. And their number one cornerback, Derek Stanley Jr. He has a defensive. Let me look up his PFF grade. His coverage is a 38.8%, and his defensive grade is a 43.1. So they only have a rookie starting as the number one cornerback. So that this is where Justin Fields needs to throw the ball. Take a note of Derek Stanley versus Darnell Mooney. MYTC, I just said that earlier that they need to get Mooney involved because Mooney had they only targeted Mooney one time against the Packers, and that was only a negative yardage, and that's because I don't know what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to do a wide receiver screen pass just to pick up a few yards, but that wind up biting them in the ass. And I will say the play calling needs to do better in this game, and that's only because the Texans defense does not have a bunch of playmakers. They need to, I wouldn't say abandon the run game because people would compare Luke Geesey to Matt Nagy because all Matt Nagy did was abandon the run game and pretty much was making Monty and Howard a non-factor. So I wouldn't say abandon the run game completely, but try to get your running backs involved because the last time we played the Texans was in 2020, and David Montgomery in 2 plays had over 100 yards. And I think Yeah, Derek Stingley is gonna versus Darnell Mooney. Uh, I think the second matchup is Bears defensive line versus the Texans defense, and that's only because of the defense keeping both teams in the game. I don't expect more running for the Bears. I have a feeling that they're gonna open up the playbook for Justin Fields now that he's going up against a lower tier defense, because I'm gonna be honest, Justin Fields has been getting hated a lot in the media, and that's because he said in the press conference that um the loss hurts the team, hurts the locker room more than the fans, which he's not lying. Like, imagine you get blown out by a rival you hate, and you try to play your absolute heart out, but it didn't matter in the end because you guys got your ass kicked. So us fans, we're used to losing in blowouts, but in the locker room, it's different. And YTC, when you lose in embarrassing fashion, that's how, like, YTC play football. It's way different when you lose when you're actually playing, and it hurts different in the locker room because you're getting players in there and they'll be like, damn, we played our ass out and we still didn't win. And it's more, and the fact that Justin Fields is getting criticized for that is wrong, because at the end of the day, losses affect the locker room more than fans, because fans, we can just forget about it. Teams, it hurts. Like, after I believe it was the Dolphins versus the Ravens game week 1 in 2019. It was rumored after they got blown out, the Dolphins locker room was getting on the phones with their agents to request a trade out of there. So it hurts the locker room way more than it hurts the fans, because the fans can take a blowout. It is, Des, but I try to keep a level high and find outlets to help me maintain my composure when people are breathing down your neck. Exactly. And Justin Fields wasn't lying. And this is coming from a dude who's played football, and losing affects the locker room more than it affects the fans. Because if the Bears were to lose, like the Sunday Night Massacre, I could just wake up the next day and my life still goes on. To them, they have to live with that moment for the rest of their lives. So I think the Bears will have 4 sacks on Davis Mills, and that's only because their pass rush is okay, but the middle of the line is questionable. And Roquan Smith needs to bounce back, because if he wants that big money, he's going to have to play his ass out. Because last game he didn't have a good game against the Packers. I think I covered pretty much everything. Like, there's really not much to talk about the Texans, because the Texans don't really like, they're tanking for probably a new quarterback, because I don't think Davis Mills is a long term answer. I think he's just a career backup at best. But if we lose, then there's just basically no excuse. But would I be surprised? No, because the Bears are not competing this year. I just want everyone to know that. And Kofi, I'm sorry because you think the Bears are winning 10 games and making the playoffs. I don't think that they don't have the talent to compete for a Super Bowl. Can they win 9 or 8 games? Most certainly, yeah. But as far as competing for a Super Bowl, that's way out the window. That's why Ryan Poles has the most money in cap space for next year so they can go spend a lot of money next offseason. And there's a lot of free agents that I want the Bears to get. So what Ryan Poles is doing is setting up Justin Fields for success for next year. So he came in, he got rid of Khalil Mack, he didn't re-sign Akeem Hicks, he re-signed in Allen Robinson. He created so much cap space for the Bears for next year, so that the Bears can go out and spend money and basically do what the other teams did last offseason. They, like for the Dolphins, for example. Do you want to know why Tua looks good? Because he has Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, who's a top 5 tight end in my opinion, basically a top 5 offensive line, decent running back core, and a good coaching staff and a good play caller. So that's why Tua looks good right now. Do you want to know why Jalen Hurts is undefeated? It's because he has A.J. Brown, he has Devontae Smith, they have Quiz Watkins, who they're getting more involved. They have a good offensive line, and they have I don't know who their tight end is, but they have a good play caller. So that's why quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa are succeeding because they have playmakers that can get it done on offense. So basically, I think I've already covered everything. I'm going to stay on here for basically about 3 more minutes, and that's if anybody has last-minute questions, comments, concerns. I wouldn't just say concerns, but decent stream overall. Wish I could have gotten more people, but this is what it is. And I'll be on Giants Nation's. I might ask Giants Nation if I can be on his the masculine podcast he does with CEO, and I'll be on Brandon's and YTC's podcast for the Bears and Giants game week, and I might reach out to Fist about going on his stream, the F Your Feelings podcast with Master at Work to talk about the Bears versus the Giants. And I believe that's it. I don't really have any Texans content creators to go to waste my time with, even if they do have fans. So anyways, I think that's pretty much enough for today. Thank you for everybody who tuning in. As always, bear down that like button. Thank you, Corey Harris. I mean, not Corey Davis.